Good morning, everyone. We'll get started in just a minute. Grab your coffee and welcome to the first pregame show with TCG. All right, let's get started looking at futures. We will look at the games this is the pregame show. We'll look at the tickers that are in play, look at a few commodities, just kind of get our day started, get our bearings as to what's moving, what's not. So starting with ES on the 5-minute, we've had just an amazing move overnight. We had this big move up, and we have a somewhat cup and handle type pattern that's forming, extremely bullish with 5-minute inside bars if you're a scalper. Let's kind of zoom out a little bit on the hourly. What we want to see typically with a cup and handle is we want to see that rounded bottom here. We have a little W bottom. Either way, this is extremely bullish. We're reaching new all-time highs. The all-time high is 398450. So this is on very low volume, so we'll have to see what happens when the market actually opens. Can the bulls keep this up? I think someone mentioned bulls on parade. Absolutely. Let's see if they can keep this up. And let's just do some quick fibs to see what could happen, just for any price targets for any of you that are long. So if we're looking at Fib extensions, the next extension would be 398925. We're almost there. The 1.618 extension is 399650, which seems like a really nice target for today. If the bulls were to sustain this buying, I would aim for $4,000 psychological for a round target for the bulls, and that seems feasible. I will be personally watching market internals to see exactly what's going on with the bulls. Is this just a pop and drop, or is this a gap and go? So we'll be monitoring that. If you're in the TCG room, we'll be posting the market internals and our analysis of that. So it's April Fool's Day. We have holiday tomorrow. Don't forget that. All right, and then we're going to go on to NASDAQ. NASDAQ is definitely the powerhouse here overnight. QQQ has just been in a miserable pattern, miserable for bulls that is, over the last few weeks. We've had this pattern here where we had this inverse head and shoulders actually, and now we have a little W bottom. And let me just zoom out a little bit better. We actually have an Adam and Eve. You see this pointed pattern here, and then we got this rounded bottom of buying. We have a daily Adam and Eve pattern. This is bullish. 1328.725 is the key resistance on NASDAQ futures. Let me go give you that resistance on QQQ just in case you don't trade futures. So the next resistance is 321.09 on QQQ and 32420. Of course, we're over this 32109 in pre-market. So 32420 and then 32433. That's our key resistance. And I just want you to make note of the daily 50 MA. That's a key area for me that the bulls need to close over. It's not okay just to get over that level. We need to close over that level. So as you can see, the NQ bulls are tackling that right now. 1328.725. That's that key resistance for the bulls. And bulls have control of ES and NQ. YM on the daily, this could be a bull flag. So we haven't been looking as bullish. This is the hourly. We actually made a higher high. We made a higher high here. We made a higher low. Now we need to get over 32967 in order to get that higher high hourly trend change on YM Dow in order for the Dow bulls to catch the NASDAQ bulls. So YM has been a laggard. RTY on the hourly, we have that trend change. We have bulls pulling back just a little bit. I want to show you just a small difference on RTY. We are below that daily 50 MA. And on the 4-hour, we have somewhat of a rising wedge forming on RTY. This is something I'm monitoring, and I'm personally looking RTY short. If the market were to roll over as a whole, I would be looking short. So this is the first day of the month, the day before a holiday. April is historically bullish. That doesn't mean it'll be bullish this April. We'll see what the bulls can do. What's moving in the pre-market? Let's go over Bitcoin. Bitcoin on the 15 minute, we have a little pop here. We've made enough room for a higher low. So this could be a bear flag. We are getting over those shorter term time frames, EMAs. We've made enough room to get a higher low over 58,139.94. Let's zoom out a little bit, get our bearings. So we have a little bit of a choppy mess on the hourly. On the daily, we have inside bars. So when we see these daily inside bars, what's a daily inside bar? That's when the mother bar, so that's yesterday's range, March 31st, the high of that range, 59800, the low, 56873. We developed this very large range. So now we're opening up April 1st within that mother range. When we open up within a larger range, what happens is this choppiness. And we play bangarang is what I like to call it, where we run up into resistance, reject, come back, run up into resistance again, reject. So you have this lack of clarity, lack of trend, lack of pattern, and that happens when we're within a mother bar larger range, and that's what's happening on Bitcoin right now. We have micro futures coming out in, I believe that would be 5 weeks, so just something to note. We are over the 21 EMA on the 4 hour. What's the significance of the 21 EMA? We have approximately 21 trading days in the market, that is. So just 21 is just a general mean or mean reversion type average that we can look at. Of course, we trade 30 days with Bitcoin. So we are above the mean, and we're fighting to hold the 8 EMA here. I'm just looking out the corner of my eye. Tesla's really popping here, and so is NEO. They are really popping strong. We'll look at those before we close up for the day. So on Bitcoin, daily inside bar, and we have some overall choppiness on shorter term time frames. We have a 15-minute downtrend right now, and the bulls need to hold 5813994 and then make a 15-minute higher high to really get back control of this chart. They've kind of lost control. Oil has a lot of news right now with OPEC. So oil I expect to be volatile today. Volatility doesn't always mean it's a clear trade setup. However, it is something I will be watching for a potential trade. It is Thursday, we're closed tomorrow, so I'm assuming the rig count will come out today, and I'm also assuming nat gas inventory will be today as well. Please verify that amongst yourselves if you are trading this. So on oil, on the hourly, we have this big inside bar. We have this huge range. To keep it simple with this uber volatility, 6066 is the key resistance and 5885 is the key support. Speaking of uber resistance, I'm going to jump ahead to Uber. Uber had they had an upgrade this morning. They're having some volume come in. So how are we going to monitor news stories? How are we going to trade it? It is best when news stories, so if it's an upgrade, if they have a production release or an offering, whatever it may be, if the news can marry up with a technical break of support and or resistance, then we see the volume and volatility incoming and we can really get a good trade out of it. So with Uber, can we get a good trade out of it? I really rely heavily on the 200 MA and the 50 MA. The 50 is the yellow line. The purple line is the 200 MA. For my trades, of course, price action is number one, but I really look at my moving averages, number two. So we are having a hard time with this 200 MA overhead. And then we have this clear price resistance of $56. If Uber can get over $56, then we may see some continuation of this bull move in pre-market. So 54.48 is going to be my key support. That was the low made on the 15-minute prior to the end of day. And then 55.61 is our pre-market high, and then $56. So Uber had an upgrade, and so we're uber excited about this pre-market setup. So backing up a little bit, excuse the lack of format on our first day of pre-game, I just want to back up a little bit. Whatever chart you're looking at, how do you do your pre-market homework, your pre-game homework to get ready for the day? Regardless of what ticker I'm looking at, I start out my day with marking the prior day high and prior day low. Excuse me, my magnet, I did not put in the right area. So that would be 53.58 and 55.18. That becomes the key area for Uber. So on Uber, 55.18 was that high, 53.58 is that low. So we are gapping up above the prior day high. How could we use this prior day high? If we were to pull back here, 55.18 prior resistance may become support, and also note 54.90 over here. So 55.18 may be a support. So whatever the case may be, always look at your prior day high and prior day low, especially if you're new to technical analysis. It can really keep your trading strategy very clean. Okay, so I'm going to jump back over to crypto. I see a request for Ethereum, and I will always add in the future Bitcoin and Ethereum at least to add to our analysis. We broke over 1944 by $22. The bears jumped in on Ethereum and said that's not enough, and we rejected. Looking on the weekly, we could have a little bit of an Adam and Eve pattern here. We need more volume. Of course, we are still in the week, so the weekly volume candle hasn't closed, but that seems to be what's lacking here. 1900 is your key support and 1966 is your key resistance. My goal in trading is to keep it simple. Trading is painful enough. I don't need to overcomplicate it. So with Ethereum, I would make it simple. 1966 is your new line in the sand. The bulls need to prove with volume and get over. 1900 is your key support. That the bears need to prove it and take it down if they are going to take control. Just looking at this chart, you can see that we have very low bear volume on this pullback. Bears aren't proving a thing. So the bulls pushed it up on high volume, bears pounced, but now that we are kind of melting and floating down, they're not proving anything with volume. They need to step up their volume game in order to pull price down below 1900. Now that I see that the volume's not there, 1900 or 1906, we have an hourly inside bar to be aware of now. That range low, 1906, resistance 1928. This is where the bulls need to come to work, wake up, get their coffee, and get involved in order to take another stab at that 1966. Okay, going back to our overall market, I'm watching XLF for a short. So we started this the stream with ES being strong, NASDAQ being strong, Dow being relatively strong, and RTY being relatively strong. XLF is relatively weak. So what do we do with this information? XLF is weak. If the market were to roll over, so let's use this black screen over here. If the market were to roll over, so this is how, of course, XLF is looking now. But if ES were to come up, make a 5-minute higher high, higher low, lower high, and roll over on volume, then I'm going to jump to XLF, and this is going to be my bear horse to ride. So we need to look at what are the relative underperformers and outperformers. If the market is overall strong, I'm going to look to my NASDAQ names, technology names, to go bull. And then if the market were to roll over, as it stands right now with pre-market, I'm going to go some XLF names to go bearish. So with XLF, now if we start with that premise that I just stated, the prior day high. So the prior day high with XLF is 34.38 and the low 34.03. So when we zoom in here, how would I trade this? If XLF were to bounce at all into this 34.03, which was yesterday's low and pre-market high, which makes it really gratuitous to have this confluence of values, I would love to short this 34.03 area. And if I personally don't like to trade XLF, the sector itself, I will trade the 3 times ETF, FAS or FAZ, or I will look to an individual XLF name to go long or short. And in this scenario, short, you could look to short 34.03 area. So let's go look at my favorite XLF name to trade is GS. Anytime that I have these key moving averages, the yellow line's the 50 MA, when we have a frown like that, look at this frown that the 50 MA is making. We have a downtrending moving average. Any pop up into that moving average that happens to coincide with a price level, that gives me a clear area to short. So I will be looking short GS 326.89 on any pop up. So any pop up on 320 on GS, and if the overall market's looking weak to soft, I will be looking to short GS. All right, we've gone over our sector overall futures. We've looked at Uber, we've looked at crypto. So let's just back up a little bit and let me throw in metals. I know there's a lot of interest in metals. So on metals, I've been eyeing the 1721.20 resistance, and of course it matches up with the 200 MA, which I love when that happens. And then our support 1710. To keep it really simple for you, for myself, I'm not saying you can get it as complicated as you like. I can't trade like that. So 1721 key resistance, 1710 key support if you're looking for a day trade. If you went long on gold on this major flush down where we had oversold conditions on so many different time frames, then I think you're okay. I wouldn't be jumping in and out like a scared chicken in and out of these trades. On the 4 hour, we see the 50 MAs coming in overhead. So that may make for some short-term consolidation. I posted yesterday in the room, and I'll try to remember, I believe it was gold. It was May. GLD call credit spread. I did the 160, and how did I determine my call credit spread, my call vertical? I was looking at the volume. So I was looking just right above price, which we were at 159 yesterday, I believe, and I put on a May gold call credit spread, and the call credit spread just helps me just get a little insurance policy on my call. So my call is 160, but I'm selling the 165 to collect a little premium and get a little insurance policy on my call. So let's look at GLD. So GLD, we finished yesterday around 160. So we may get a pullback. The size of the range yesterday, that would be pretty logical to get a pullback. I'm not going to jump out on my call credit spread just because we get consolidation. Natural ebbs and flows of any ticker that you're watching is natural. The price is going to move along the lines of least path of resistance. It's going to move up and down along the lines of the least path of resistance. Man, say that fast with just one cup of coffee under your belt. So with gold, I still like it long. We got some clear levels on GLD if you're trading that and you don't trade futures. So I will keep that call credit spread on as long as 157 holds on GLD. Okay, going back to our pre-market high volume movers, either on some type of news upgrade. So Microsoft had the big news yesterday. I'm really watching this one. I like this daily chart. You see we have this little pattern. We have a squeeze. A TTM squeeze just means that price is going sideways and pressure is building. So they had news yesterday of a $22 billion Army contract. Please verify the details of that news, but it was something to that effect. So 239.10, that is the high of that news reaction. And then I would watch the low of pre-market here, which this didn't happen on volume. I'd actually watch 235.73. So if we can get over 239 on Microsoft, this may get some continuation. That was some really big news with a military $22 billion contract. So we may get some continuation there. So with Microsoft, this isn't pre-market news. This is possible news continuation trade from yesterday. Looking at NIO, just amazing. This is our #1 pre-market mover. Tons of volume. I believe the last time I looked, it was about 1.5 million pre-market volume. I'm sure it's closer to 2 million now. We have this beautiful rounded volume, which I like to call the trampoline move. We're moving now, actually. Let's look at it on the 2-minute. This wick is making it hard to see, but overall, this is just a beautiful chart. This may be a buy on a pullback. So with NEO, we like to we often see, excuse my language, it gaps and craps. So if it were to pull back at market open, I would be looking at $40 psychological, or just eyeball your key EMAs as potential buy area and watch that 2-minute. SMH, this sector is highly in favor, so I would be watching SOXL, 3 times ETF. I grabbed a position yesterday over in here around $37. So let me go pull that up versus talking about it. So I grabbed it yesterday, and here we had a big move up on SOXL. 3 times ETFs can be very dangerous, so please be careful. But we keep getting tons of reports of SMH shortages, and we're fighting to get over this 50 MA, get over 39.15, and we've got some movement up that could be expected on SMH. So any of your semi names, LRCX, which was a swing report name this week, which did very well. So part of the chart, guys, is we have a swing report service where we give you approximately 40-page report where we show you what's going on with the markets overall at a 50,000 foot level. We look at sector rotation, and then we give you 6 individual names that we're eyeing for the upcoming few weeks of, just looked at that, of names that are moving, and LRCX is gapping up to an all-time high, and that was one of our swing report names, so that's doing well. Looking at Tesla, Apple's going to use their batteries. They have all kinds of different news. Overall, we had a technical break yesterday, folks, but this 50 MA gives me cause to pause. I'm not going to get crazy excited, but I will day trade this thing like So 69962, so $700 is your next resistance, and then 713.18. This should provide amazing day trading opportunity on Tesla. Oh, and just a reminder, today is our 0 day. So normally we have OpX, options expiration, on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So today is Thursday, but it's the last day of the week. So we have options expiration on SPX, RUT, and NDX if you want to trade those. So really like Tesla. I have a question coming in about Mara, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so typically Mara looks a lot like the Bitcoin chart. So they typically move in lockstep. However, it can do its own thing, and we like to call that a honey badger or a money badger. So looking at Mara, the hourly 4-hour was extended. So I would say 50.21. So you can see that I'm disregarding $51, the pre-market level. 50.21 becomes a key level. So let's do what I suggested that we do yesterday. It's high, 50.21. Yesterday's low, 42.60. You got a wide range. What I would like to see as a Mara bull at a minimum is an inside bar. So I'd like for it to just stay within yesterday's range. I would say that's a win. And if we were to gap up from yesterday's range, that's even a bigger win. And just keep this hourly move going. So I'd like to see 47.25 hold. If that were to hold, that would be extreme strength. And so the specific question is daily high or low. So you would have to be okay with it pulling back to, at this point, $41, which is the daily 8 EMA. Would you be okay holding your entire position back to $41 if you entered at $47? I personally would not. So I would take at least 1/3 scale today and then move up your stops on the other 1/3. Maybe use yesterday's low for the other 1/3 stop, and then the prior day low of 38.55 as your other stop. So on Mara, just be protected. That was a beautiful move on high volume. Would love to see a continuation day. And again, I would give the bulls an A if they stay within yesterday's range, and an A++ if they gap above 50.21, but just be protected and move up your stops and protect your gains as we go. Looking at a few other names, VUZI, so they had a 50-something% move yesterday, I believe. Did I see that? Either way, they had a very large move yesterday, and that's because they are connected with the Microsoft News. So just maybe watch VUZI for some day trading, scalping opportunities. This is linked with the Microsoft news. And then finally, I wanted to cover DDOG. DDOG got an upgrade. 82.79 would be your key support on any pullback and maybe a long opportunity. Oh my gosh, the time just went so fast. Thank you for spending your pre-market time with me and with TCG. We plan to make this a daily event where we go over futures, tickers, pre-market movers, and crypto, and just kind of pre-game huddle with you and get our game plan established. I hope you have an amazing trading day. Be patient and make the trade come to you.